A hollow of Korriban and Kuet flickers behind her, then fades to an image of Vancouver Island. Forests, gray water, distant mountains. This is not the story of a hero. This is the story of a man who kept surviving long after he stopped believing he deserved to. His name is Hanso Nilsson. Earth name, Canadian. Age 23 when the galaxy first notices him. But the forces that forged him began long before he ever held a blaster or stood on an alien world. Bloodlines and birth, a child of leftover wars. Images, BC rainforest, a rough cabin, a young boy learning to split wood, an old Canadian uniform folded in a trunk, a cigarette burning in a dark kitchen. Hanso was born on April 3rd, 1946, on Vancouver Island, in the wake of one war, and on the path to several more. His father, a half-Swedish Canadian soldier who fought in what your world calls the Second World War. His mother, a Japanese Canadian woman, forcibly displaced during that same war, trying to rebuild a life in a country that had caged her people. They built a home deep in the forest. No electricity, no easy comforts. Hanso learned the language of rain on the roof, the weight of an axe, the sound of a rifle shot echoing between the trees. His bloodline is a map of empires: Scandinavian, Japanese, Sinishi Korean, Irish and British, German, Iberian, Italian, Chinese, a trace of indigenous. A child of conquerors, victims, migrants, outcasts. He learns early that identity is not simple, nor is mercy. Childhood Raven, Chong, Fenrir, and the first wounds. Images, two boys running along a rocky shore, a Chinese fish shop, a new Chonolth longhouse, a shadowed shape in the trees. Near the town of Port Hardy, Hanso finds his first true brother, a new Chonolth boy called Gugani, who prefers Raven after the trickster's spirit in his people's stories. They roam the forests, stalk rivers, climb cliffs. Two boys from wounded peoples, pretending the world is bigger than the hurt their parents don't talk about. Hanso works young at a Scottish-owned dock, in a Chinese fish shop run by Chong Kong. He learns Cantonese and Mandarin, picks up curses, jokes, recipes, and a sense of belonging in a family that is not his, but acts like it is. Not everyone welcomes him. One of Chong's relatives survived the rape of Nanjing and will only call Hanso Jap Boy. Hanso takes the blows in silence. He will endure cruelty aimed at him. What he cannot forgive is cruelty aimed at those he loves. In the deep forest, he meets something else, a creature he names Fenrir, dogman of local legends. One night, skinning a deer, he sees it watching. Hanso leaves a portion of the meat as an offering. The thing never harms him. They form an understanding. Two predators acknowledging each other's claim to the woods. Father's death, mother's decline, the first shattering. Telegram. Two uniformed men at the door. His mother's cigarette trembling. Hospital light. his father reenlists to fight in Korea. At Kapyong, he does not come back. Two men in uniform bring the news. The kind of scene that repeats across your world, but each one is its own universe of grief. His mother breaks slowly. Depression, chain smoking, grief that never cools. Work is scarce for a Japanese Canadian woman. The war may be over, but the hatred lingers. Hanzo becomes the man of the house while still a boy, cooking, tending the garden, repairing the cabin, working whatever jobs he can find. Then comes the next blow, his mother's cancer. One of her old friends, Adolf Kuhn, a German-Canadian biker and veteran of the Devil's Brigade, helps. He smuggles in cannabis to ease her pain, brings gruff comfort, and teaches Hanzo to shoot and hunt with a professional's eye. Adolf leaves him a single line of armor. Never forget who you are, Hanzo. The rest of the world won't. Wear it like armor, and it can never be used to hurt you. On May 5th, 1954, his mother dies. No proper goodbye. No grave he is sure of. Just an empty house in the woods, and a boy who has already lost too much. Guardianships, fists, and reputation. Dockyard fights. Aba's steady presence. Biker silhouettes at dusk. Aba, an Okinawan man who knew Hanzo's grandparents, becomes his legal guardian. He is often absent, but he keeps Hanzo from falling entirely into the abyss. Chong Kong keeps him fed and busy. Raven keeps him sane. Adolf keeps him dangerous. Hanzo works himself raw at docks and mills. Racists come looking for a target. They find one who fights back. He earns a reputation. The quiet half-breed kid who will take a beating without flinching until someone crosses a line. Then he becomes something else. Rumors say he's mixed up with Satan's Choice, an outlaw motorcycle club. He never fully patches in, but he learns their codes, their habits, their sense of twisted brotherhood. He also learns that violence, once unleashed, is not easy to put back on the chain. Vietnam barns fire, and the first massacre. Footage, humid jungle, tracer fire, flares. Men yelling over artillery. Canada is at peace. Hanzo is not. With no major Canadian war to fight, he goes south and enlists in the United States Army. Infantry, jungle, Vietnam. He is placed under Sergeant Barnes. Ruthless, efficient, brutal. Barnes recognizes something in Hanzo. Discipline, endurance, a willingness to take the hardest job without complaint. Hanzo becomes point man, the one who walks first, who meets the ambush, who lives on the knife edge between intuition and death. New Year's Eve, night operation. Chaos, NVA, VC, flares, artillery, airstrikes. Most of the unit is annihilated in fire from the sky. In the aftermath, Hanzo finds a fellow soldier, Chris Taylor, aiming his weapon at a wounded Barnes, wrestling with the choice to execute him. Hanzo does not interfere. He will carry Barnes if he lives. He will not decide if he deserves to. Taylor spares him. Hanzo drags Barnes out of hell. After Hanzo is reassigned under O'Neill. Same war, different lies. The jungle does not care. The Walking Dead, Marines, and a second harvest of ghosts. Marine insignia. 1-9 Walking Dead, night firefight. A child soldier's face. When his army enlistment ends, Hanzo could walk away. He chooses not to. He joins the United States Marine Corps, 1st Battalion, 9th Marines, the Walking Dead. A unit with casualty rates that make most men flinch just hearing the name. Fate takes a cruel pleasure in patterns. Barnes is there too, having re-enlisted in the Marines to keep fighting. The cycle of violence continues. The war grows uglier. Ambushes, villages caught between sides, orders that leave a taste like poison. Near the end, another massacre, an ambush that shreds their unit. Barnes dies this time. Only 5 survivors crawl out of the meat grinder. Hanzo's childhood brother Raven is among the dead, not killed by some hardened veteran, but by a child soldier, barely old enough to carry the rifle. For Hanzo, this is the wound that never closes. It isn't just that his brother died. It's how a boy forced into war, killing a man who only joined to watch his friends back. He sees that boy every time he closes his eyes. Aftermath, New Orleans, nightmares, and leaving before he breaks them. Porch in the South, cigar smoke, a family meal with one man mentally elsewhere. When Vietnam finally lets him go, Hanzo follows a squad mate, Roland, to New Orleans. Roland's family takes him in. They see the haunted look, the hands that twitch at loud sounds, the way he drinks and smokes to drown the jungle's echoes. Roland's sister tries to reach him. She sees the man behind the scars, wants to help carry his burden. Hanzo refuses, not out of contempt, but out of self-loathing. He believes a man like him, a man who has done what he has done for duty, is poison to people like her. He is grateful, but he leaves. Before his presence burdens them more, before his nightmares keep any more people awake. He travels north again, across a country he just watched tear itself apart over a war he bled in. Return to Vancouver Island, funerals and empty houses, rain in a graveyard, Raven's father weeping, a shuttered cabin in the woods. Back on Vancouver Island, the ghosts wait. He spends time with Raven's family, tells them how their son died, the way soldiers do. Enough truth to honor the fallen, enough omission to spare the living. Raven's father breaks, sobbing when he learns his boy was killed by a child in a war far from home. They do not blame Hanzo. Hanzo does. He also learns Aba has died in his absence. Another anchor gone. The cabin he grew up in is still there, but it feels like a museum of someone else's life. So he does what he always does when the world narrows around him. He goes back to the only thing that makes sense. Service. Princess Patricia's light infantry, the Canadian soldier, Canadian beret, PPCLI badge, training fields, then alien steel corridors. Hanzo enlists in the Canadian Army, following his father's path. He enters the Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry, 1st Battalion, Weapons Section, 2nd Platoon, Alpha Company. Rank Corporal. He brings with him everything Vietnam taught him: fieldcraft, ambush instincts, fire discipline, the ability to read terrain at a glance. To his men, he is the quiet corporal who almost never raises his voice, but whose word is rarely wrong. To his superiors, he is reliable, lethal, uncomplaining. When Earth is pulled, kicking and screaming, into the galactic war, Canada sends its best alongside the rest of the Commonwealth. Hanzo goes with them at Kuat Drive Yards during a major Imperial assault. He sets up a machine gun blocking position with his team on a balcony overlooking a hangar approach. Using the same logic he once used in jungle villages. Control the kill zone, break the momentum, and nobody gets past. The battlefield has changed. Starships, Sith, droids, alien troopers. But the fundamentals have not. Find them, fix them, finish them. 10. Body and bearing. What you see when you look at him. We get a slow, evaluative shot. Hanzo in PPCLI kit on Kuat. Then in fatigues back on Earth. Then just his face. Physically, he is unremarkable by soldier legend standards. 5 feet 11, 148 pounds. Fair skin, dark greenish hazel, eyes that miss nothing. Black hair in a ranger's cut. Practical, low maintenance, ready for field work. His strength is not in bulk, but in endurance and efficiency. He moves like someone who has had to make every calorie count and every step matter. He doesn't posture. He doesn't need to. Mind and politics, the reluctant realist. Hanzo ignoring a political argument in a mess hall, then carefully cleaning a weapon. Politically, your world would call him center-right. In my terms, a cautious traditionalist with scars. He does not care for ideological crusades. War cured him of that. He distrusts politicians and grand narratives. But he is not a nihilist. He knows that some things must still be defended, even if the people giving orders are flawed. He does not insist that his way is the only way. He simply knows his way, and he is honest about it. He avoids political debates because he has seen what happens when theory meets artillery. Character, the quiet professional. Shots, Hanzo hauling a wounded comrade. Hanzo sharing a cigarette with a shaken younger soldier. Hanzo alone, staring into darkness. Hanzo Nilsson is a quiet professional. He speaks when needed, not to fill silence. He lets his work speak for him. Clean shots, solid fire plans. Men brought home who might otherwise not have made it. Those who know him see 3 pillars. Loyalty. He will go further for his people than he does for himself. Protecting others is the one thing that gives meaning to the burdens he carries. Honor, not the soft kind that disappears when things get ugly, but the hard kind that says, I will do what I believe is right, even if no one sees it, even if no one thanks me. Conviction. He does not believe he is good. He does believe that, in a world of monsters, someone must stand between them and those who cannot fight. So he fights, not for glory, not for medals, because that is what he knows how to do. Scars, the wounds you don't see. Flashes, his father's death notice, his mother on a sickbed, Raven's body, the child soldier, Cap Young, jungle fire, Abagon. On his skin, you will find the usual. Shrapnel, bullet grazes, the marks of a man who walks toward gunfire for a living. Inside, the scars are older and deeper. A father killed at Cap Young, proving that duty can demand everything and still not be enough. A mother eaten alive by grief and cancer. Proof that war kills long after the shooting stops. A childhood friend murdered by a child soldier. Proof that war devours innocence on both ends of the rifle. A lifetime of being told, in glances and slurs, that his bloodline makes him suspect. These do not heal. They become weight. Hanzo carries that weight. He does not ask anyone else to. Ronderou's verdict, why he matters. Now we see Ronderou herself, seated, looking directly toward the camera, as if she's talking to a council of generals. I have led warriors all my life. I know the types. There are those who crave war because it feeds their ego. They die screaming when they finally meet an enemy who does not care about their legend. There are those who fear war and break under it. They are not weak. They were simply never meant to carry that burden. And then there are men like Hanzo Nilsson. He does not love war. He does not run from it. He accepts it, the way a man accepts that winter will come. He is dangerous because he can adapt. From Vancouver's forests to Vietnamese jungles to steel corridors above alien worlds, he is necessary because he remembers every mistake, every horror, every face. Men like him make sure those lessons are not wasted. In the EARD era, as Earth claws for a place in a galaxy already sick with conflict, Hanzo stands at a crossroads, a soldier of one small northern nation, and a man the galaxy will one day learn to fear or follow. He does not yet know what he will become, but I have seen enough men like him to know one thing. The war has not finished shaping Hanzo Nilsson, and the galaxy is not ready for the man it will forge.